Friday the 13th, Leatherface, Saw, all examples of horror movie franchises who, for better or worse, continue to go on and on and on and on, and we haven't really had one in a while. And now we have A Quiet Place that is clearly tapping into its own formula and is going to give us tons and tons of movies in this brand new horror universe. So, let's talk A Quiet Place Part 2. Quiet Place Part 1 has got some really good characterizations, not all that scary. It's creepy, there's some thriller moments, but it's not really scary. I don't think this is just if you go see it in the theater. Go see it in the theater. But Quiet Place Part 2 is terrifying. The not being able to make a move thing unless someone hearing you and the terror that comes from that, they really dial into that a lot more in this movie. But what this movie sacrifices, the characters are so dumb. The story, first of all, okay, before the characters, the story itself. I can't remember a movie where, even if a bad movie, you expect you might get from point A to point B. But this movie, what they actually have to do, what you'll say, okay, so we start at the leaving the farm, and I won't say where we end up, but there's almost no progression. It's strange how unmemorable these new characters are, and it's strange how much the old characters, they don't show anything new about themselves. Like, okay, the little kid, the son, is a whiny wimp. He's beyond, like, of course you have stupid people in movies, but the boy is such a baby. Sure, throughout the movie he kind of grows up a little bit and whatever, it doesn't really matter. Because the movie doesn't actually go anywhere, it doesn't really matter that kid kind of stopped being a baby and became less of a baby, although that whole thing, the kid and Emily Blunt are left with the baby while Cillian Murphy goes and finds the daughter because she ran away because she thinks she might know somewhere else that they can go that's safer. Cillian Murphy shows up with her and, he's got to take her back to Emily Blunt and, she just kind of says, you could have done something before, but you can do something now. And at that point, Cillian Murphy's like, well, forget it. Your mom doesn't need to know that you're alive. Let's just keep on going. We're going to keep on going. So then they go off on their journey. But where is their journey? The motivation for why they're doing the stuff that they're doing is clear, but it's not very strong. It's like, why not just go back and tell them that you're going to go and you're going to try to make it to some island? Just tell them that you're going to do that. It takes you, 3 hours to do that? You're probably going to be fine. Just be quiet. But, okay, the being quiet thing in A Quiet Place Part 2 is actually mined for really good horror. This is so scary. The monsters have a much more intense presence in this movie than they did in the first one. You've got bad characters in this movie, but you have a much scarier movie, which is weird. I never would think that it's okay to have characters that are this thin. There's nothing really going on with them. You care less about them in this movie than you did in the first movie. But that opening scene is so good. That opening scene, I think there's something inherently scary about that isn't just jump scares. There's so much drama, but also horror in that idea. The idea of you hear something's going wrong on the news, and then 5 minutes later someone says that, we're in New York and everything's falling apart, and my brother in Tennessee is saying that everything's falling apart too, and that we lost phone signal, and then all of a sudden here the monsters are, and you're just trying to get home. The opening scene lives off of the characterization that we had in the first movie, but whenever it's time to go into present day, this whole thing about how, there's something more dangerous out there than the monsters is stupid. Oh my gosh, that is so stupid. It's a lie. It didn't exist. She ran into a wimpy man who couldn't make up his mind about what he wanted to do. And then you had a girl who went off and wanted to find her own thing that she thinks exists and whatever, but it never really comes to very much. It doesn't come to very much at all. And look, and the way that it ends, that's the thing. It's scary. You get a lot of scary scenes, and good for that. I would even go see it again because of that. The lack of characterization, I think, means that we don't know what to think about the future of this series. I don't know whether or not to be excited or meh, we'll see. I'm kind of feeling more like we'll just see how this goes, because the having to be quiet all the time, kind of like the Saw franchise, although I don't think that Saw started off with an idea as good as the one that A Quiet Place uses in its movies, it's gonna get old. You have to be quiet all the time, I think is going to get old, and I hope that it doesn't. I can tell that we're gonna have tons and tons of these movies. The characters definitely need to be better, and I feel like we're probably gonna, if not get good characters, we'll at least get another 2 scary Quiet Place movies before the entire thing gets old. Thank you very much for watching, and be sure to subscribe to 5 Minute Critic for future updates on reviews and movie news.